To the person who is about to grab their car keys and go to the ATM and take out $3,000, you say what?
You don't need to. Your ATM is safe, your banks are safe, there's enough cash in the financial system, and there is an infinite amount of cash at the Federal Reserve. We will do whatever we need to do to make sure that there's enough cash in the banking system.
Fair to say you simply flooded the system with money.
Yes, we did. That's another way to think of banks.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back at it again, bringing you a brand new video. And in this video, we are going to take a step back from the charts and kind of talk about the CPI numbers, talk about inflation, talk about potentially the financial crash, and just have an open general discussion. I guess it's a one-way conversation, but hey, you guys can let me know with your thoughts down below and what you think the next best investment is, whether or not you guys are personally seeing the grocery prices increase, thoughts on the economy. Let me know below. Share a couple stories back and forth. It's all great information. I'm just hosting this video so we can have an open chat. Okay, guys? Hopefully you guys enjoyed that little open there. You gotta love Jerome Powell and his money printing, so-called transitory inflation. They've recently came out and started saying, we don't know if it's transitory. You gotta love it. They're gonna do everything they can to hide what's actually going on. And recently they came out with the CPI numbers, and the year-over-year CPI number is at 6.2%. Now, obviously it's a lot higher than that, but they continue to remove important things from the CPI to make it seem lower, to lie to the people that the economy is doing all right. And we know that it's not all right. I'm sure you guys have gone to the local grocery store. I, in fact, have it right here. Now, this is just a general place, but I'm sure it's different for everybody. But I have personally noticed an impact. If we look here at the grocery store prices, we can see eggs. For a dozen of eggs last year, it used to be $1.41. Now, it is $1.82. That's a 30% increase. I'm sure you guys have noticed a big increase in meats as well. Talking about bacon, talking about chicken. I know personally, if I went to the chicken store or Walmart, you buy those pre-cooked chickens. I love those things. They're like $7 Canadian. Now they're going up to $8, right? Everything's going up. You look at Thanksgiving going on. Last year, Thanksgiving was averaging $28 for a 16-pound turkey. This year is to be projected at $55 for that 16-pound turkey. Big shout out to Jerome Powell and his money printing and what's been going on over the last 2 years. It's definitely interesting stuff. Now, a lot of businesses will do their best to hide this stuff. Now, they can only hide it for so long. There's two ways they can hide it. Well, not really hide it, but they've got to increase the price. Now, if they don't raise the price of the product that they're selling, what they might do is they will shrink the packaging and shrink the, I guess, in this case, chocolate bar or the Ziploc bags, or what Costco does is they start giving you less toilet paper. So less grams, I guess you could say, right? A chocolate bar may have what? 150 grams of chocolate, right? They say it on the labeling down below. Now what they'll do is they instead of raising the price to $1.20 from $1, they'll keep it the exact same, but they will give you less chocolate. All right, that's one way that they're going to hide the inflation on you. Now people start to notice this stuff, they take pictures, right? They can either increase the price or they can shrink it, all right? So different businesses are doing different stuff. And if we actually look here, they can't hide. You know, with the cost of everything going up, let's look at wheat, soybeans, cotton, corn, sugar, right? We look at wheat, which is used to make bread, and I'm sure a bunch of other things. I couldn't really tell you what all these things are used for, but you know, sugar is obviously used for a lot of things. But wheat as well, $850, $815. Look at the price chart of this thing. You can't keep your product at the same price without increasing it or shrinking the amount that you are selling to the consumer or to the person buying it, right? If we look at soybeans, we can see it's, what is it at right now? 1265. Look at the massive rally ever since the last 2 years of what's been going on around the world, the pandemic. We look at cotton, it's been shooting up. What about corn? It's been shooting up. What about sugar? It's been shooting up. You can't hide this stuff. Businesses are not just going to start losing money. They're going to shrink the product that they are selling, or they're going to raise the cost of it. All right. We can see oil. You guys know, a lot of people have been complaining about oil lately. So these are the consequences And if things continue to get worse, which they most likely will, if we look over here on the left hand, I brought you guys this little chart. It's Venezuela, Argentina, Turkey, right? We can see Venezuela's up 2,000%, Argentina 52%, Turkey 19%. These are the most recent countries that are going absolutely bananas with their hyperinflation, right? And we're going to pull up charts and look at this type of stuff. And this is the same thing that some people say it's guaranteed to happen, and people say it won't. But that's up to you to decide on what's happening. But Mexico, or not Mexico, sorry, but US is following the exact same steps. It's just they're really the granddaddy, and it's so-called the safe haven currency, but they continue to print money and devalue their own currency. It's ridiculous. You actually look here. We're going to be skipping around a lot, so sorry about that. It's not too planned, but I got all these images lined up for you guys. If we look here on the right, the US dollar purchasing power during the 20th century, it's been going nothing but down. You are losing the purchasing power of your money. That's why it's always good to keep it in like the stocks, metals, real estate. But if you have it just sitting in cash, it's really not doing anything, right? Things continue to get worse. You remember when your grandpa and your dad would tell you, after my 10-kilometer walk to school and back, in the cold, hard snow up to my knees, I used to go to the chocolate store and buy myself a 25-cent chocolate. Now, what is that chocolate? It's like $1, right? But I'm sure you guys have seen the impact of inflation. I personally have, with me being in Mexico, I go to these restaurants. I notice one week it's like 65 pesos, which is like $3.50 for 6 wings. It's a really nice spot I liked in Cabo San Lucas, overlook the whole city and stuff like that. I would sit up on top of the balcony, have a beer, have like 6 wings, and just chill, relax to their little tropical house music, hip hop, or whatever kind of music they got going on. And I noticed I went back there 2 weeks later and they had stickers over the price saying the wings are now 85 pesos. Right? It's like a what, 30% increase or something like that. So inflation is hitting all over around the world, as we know. It's the same thing. If you guys know your local 7-Eleven. For here in Mexico, it is the OXXO, OXXO. I noticed like 6 months ago, OXXO started replacing a lot of their items with bumping up an increase. I noticed like these nuts that I used to always buy would be like 19 pesos. Now it's 23 pesos. The burritos that I liked are now 45 pesos, back from 40 pesos or 39 pesos it was. So I definitely have seen an impact. I'm sure you guys have seen an impact. It's definitely really interesting stuff. Now you might be saying, well, how can I protect myself from the potential devaluation and the purchasing power of my dollar? It doesn't matter if you're from the States, from Canada, from Euro, from India, wherever around the world it's hitting you. One of the main things to fight the inflation and the purchasing power of the dollar is to buy physical metals, gold and silver, right? And it's a heated debate. Not really, it's not a heated debate, it's just a debate. What's better? They say gold is the king's money and silver is the peasant's money. Now, if you're just the average Joe Blow, let's just say we're the average Joe Blow. I don't, I'm sure I'm not sitting on hundreds of millions of dollars, so it's kind of hard for me to buy 100 ounces of gold, but I could easily buy 100 ounces of silver. Now there's a massive weight difference, or sorry, not weight difference, but price difference in 100 ounces of gold versus silver. And there's probably a better return, in my opinion, in the silver. It's heavily manipulated. Right now, there's a ratio of 75 to 1 to gold and silver, when it really should be the healthy number is like around 20. I think it's good to own both gold and silver. But if you're looking at more of a return base, in my opinion, I think silver is a better route to go. But if you're sitting there with like $100 million, it's not hard. Yeah, it is actually hard to buy 100 millions of silver. That's a lot of silver. $100 million of silver is a lot. If you just grab $1 million of silver and $1 million of gold, I could hold that $1 million of gold in one hand. I couldn't hold $1 million worth of silver. There is a massive difference in price. Yeah. So that's definitely one thing. A lot of people are saying, Bitcoin could be the next thing. People say Bitcoin's the new gold. Is that true? Well, that's up to you to decide, right? I think it's definitely a good thing to have invested in, to have a small portion of your portfolio sitting in crypto. People say maybe 2, 3, 5%, at least be exposed to the crypto market. I think it's a good thing. But also gold and silver. It's been a currency that's been used for thousands and thousands of years, especially gold, and it's held its purchasing power. So it's a good counter against the dollar. All these countries that create their own currency, and they continue to print and they go into hyperinflation, they end up failing, right? We can see it with the right now, as we know, Venezuela. What about Zimbabwe? They got billion-dollar notes in Zimbabwe. The Turkish lira is going absolutely bananas. Argentinian peso seems to collapse every 10 years. It's just not a good thing to put faith in a paper currency, in my opinion, right? So actually, I pull up a 10-year chart of gold and Argentinian peso, and you can see, 5 years ago it was pretty stable, around 20,000 per 1 ounce of gold down here, and then all of a sudden it starts shooting all the way up to now 180,000. That's outrageous, hyperinflation. What about Venezuela? You guys know Venezuela is going absolutely bananas. Look at the price; it shot all the way up. Now recently, the Turkish lira, I think we might have talked about it, USD TRY, I believe it is. Turkish lira going through hyperinflation. The US dollar is gaining a lot of value. The Turkish lira is devaluing a lot. It's not a good thing to be having your net worth sitting in that paper currency for sure. If we look at XAU TRY, which would be the Turkish lira, to gold, we can see what's been going on. It's been shooting up. Just 4 years ago, 2017, it was at 142. Now it's at 675. If you see the same impact happen in the dollar, you could see a massive collapse in the currency, which obviously would be a massive collapse in the currency, but in the whole world, if inflation continues to get worse, it's supposedly the safe haven, collapses, gold could potentially skyrocket. People say that gold should be valued at $10,000 easily right now. And if you see a collapse in it, you could easily see it. And then as well, you're most likely going to see silver continue to rise. With the new agenda that they're trying to push on everybody, saying the climate change and all the solar panels go green energy, woohoo. What do they require? It requires silver. It requires these metals to be used, and you would see these metals skyrocket, and you really haven't seen that happen yet. So we are definitely living in some very interesting times. So really the whole point of this video, guys, was just to have an open discussion. I know it was one way, but you guys can share your stories below and talk about type of impact that you guys have seen, or why you like gold, or why you like silver, or why you think Bitcoin's the next best thing, or why you think a certain commodity is really good, or maybe why you really believe that the paper US dollar is the best investment, or you think stocks are. I don't know. It's up to you. I would love to hear your guys' opinion and what you guys think of the whole situation, right? I'm just here to open up your guys' mind a little bit, have this general discussion. Hopefully you guys got some value out of this. I absolutely loved making this video for you guys. I'm enjoying it. We're going to end it here, though. Keep it nice and short. I don't want to keep this going too long. If you guys really like this video, hit that like button, comment, like, subscribe if you want to reach out to me on social media. Moneyball Austin. That is Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. All right? I will let you guys go. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. That's next week. But anyways, cheers, everybody.